Hey guys, what's going on? Today we have a video about a certain player who I promised everyone that I wouldn't even be spending a single buck on. But as we have it right here, there's Traore, the finisher, at level 5, almost at level 6 now. Now, what do I think about this player? Well, I'll leave that until the end of the video, because I tried him in this 4-1-4-1. As a striker, as you can see, Traore was obviously, as you can expect, the weakest link of this formation. He was, but I mean, in his defense he's just level 5. But even though he was, and is still just level 5, when I played him in the volleyballing arena, which is obviously the Infinity Arena full of volleyballers, he was faced with level 10 and 11 defenders. So as a guy who's just level 5, I think he did okay. His stats here say that he played 30 games, he won 20 of them, which places his win rate at around 66%. And I wasn't particularly lucky in this test. I lost a few penalty shootouts here and there, and he scored 15 goals, so that is exactly 1 goal every 2 games. Now, of course, he was on penalties and free kicks, although I didn't manage to score from a free kick with Traore. But yeah, this is basically the formation. Now, let's just go on to the gameplay. Okay guys, now we're going to have a look at what Traore is all about. Now, here I'm going to explain what is happening and why I think it's happening, guys, because again, this is something that this is a player that I have no idea like how he works or who exactly he is really. FTG says he's a finisher, but I'm not that convinced, and I'll tell you why. Now, in this scenario, I thought that he was going to play the ball back, right? But obviously it wasn't going to be the case because he wasn't the furthest player up the field. You can see there are 2 players up here like closer to goal than he is, and in general strikers will play the ball back when they are the closest person to the goal. And in the situation, Traore wanted to create, and that's something that I realized later on, and that I will also say in my judgment of him at the end of the video, is that he is not a striker. Like, this guy is just not a striker, even though he does point towards goal as much as possible. So look, he was the furthest player up the field in this situation. There was no one close to him, but he just, as a level 5 player, decided to tackle on, you know, look, 20,000 hammers and, you know, level 10 and 11 defenders. In this situation, he did well to play the ball back, which is good. It's not something that you can really rely on, but it is something that you can make work, especially with his good response. He can get to the ball before other players, and you know, he can do a good job in that way. Now, this situation, even though it was a goal, it kind of disappointed me quite a lot, guys, actually. I'll tell you why by rewinding it a bit, and here we go. Now, I thought that this guy was a shooter, that he'd shoot from outside the box if necessary, like a Prowler does and like Sandberg does. But look at what he does here. We're like into the box at this point, practically. We're on the line, right? But he doesn't shoot. He actually takes a touch before going for a goal. And as you'll see in another clip, that's pretty disappointing. You can't judge this from here because this was his final kick, and I tried to score a wonder goal with him. It didn't work. But yeah, the problem with someone like that is that he'll dribble a bit too much, even though in this situation he kind of twisted his body really well and went for a shot. A fantastic thing if he do that consistently, but he does not do that consistently. Look, in this situation he's creating, taking on the world, it seems, but he kind of stops to find a player, which isn't a bad thing. It's just not something that a striker really does. Look, he's always trying to go for a goal as much as possible. It's quite unpredictable. He is a very strange player. This is the situation that I was going to tell you, that I told you about. Look, He is outside of the box at this moment in time. With good reaction, he is first towards the ball. I'm not sure why it's lagging, so I'll pause and go back. Now look, he's first to the goal, but the problem is that he just tries to dribble. He doesn't go for goal immediately. Look. In this situation, from this distance, a Prowler or Sandberg, I wouldn't say a Menace, because a Menace would do exactly what Traore did. A Prowler or Sandberg would have taken a shot, even a hammer for that matter. But he decided to try and, dribble and create something that wasn't going to be there. He didn't have any space. That's what makes Prowlers, Sandberg, hammers, Matsumoto so good, is that they shoot on sight. And when I mean on sight, they just, when they kind of sniff an opportunity to shoot, they will do so. It doesn't matter if they're outside of the box. In this situation, he scored a tap-in, which is all well and good. I think I showed that clip because even though he has 4 or 5 speed, he can still get to the ball if you play it to him well. In this situation, and actually, that is something that a finisher does. That's why I'm disappointed, guys, is that as a finisher, this guy should just go on goal immediately. But like this, in this situation, was perfect because he didn't try to even take a single touch. That's something I want. That's something I had in mind as a striker, with Traore as a striker. But I was disappointed in that sense. Is that this guy is clearly not a striker because he is more of a creator, as it seems, more of a central attacking midfielder, as I think, even though his dribble trait is a bit too high to be a central attacking midfielder. He doesn't play the ball back, not nearly as close. This is a very interesting situation because he just turned. In this situation, look, he was marked completely, pretty well, I'd say. But my opponent didn't press this defender, so Traore kind of, his first intuition was to go for a goal, which is good, but he doesn't do that from a long way out. Why is that strange? As you can see here, it's strange because he has the capability of shooting outside of the box. I will explain the situation better again, because in this situation, he wasn't trying to shoot. I forced him to shoot. Okay? That is a very disappointing thing. He was going to try and find Sandberg here, but I kind of had a whiff of goal, and I knew that with Traore's capabilities, I could have scored, and I did. Now, let's go for the conclusion. So, judgment time for Mr. Traore here, the finisher. At level 5, I do not think that he is ready to be played. Not in the Infinity Arena, definitely not. But he has the potential, especially if you're in the lower arenas. For example, when you were from Arena 6, I'd say, or 5 onwards, he'll be a great player because he has enough power, skill, and response to make the difference, especially as a central attacking midfielder. I'll show you an example here. This is a perfect place for him, I think, right? I think, because he has, that kind of eye for goal, but here is the problem, guys. Look at his dribble trait. That defeats him. That really doesn't do him any justice, and it's a very big problem. Now, even as a center forward, you don't want your striker to be too much of a dribbler, because as you've seen, he will try to take that extra touch towards goal. The more touches a player makes towards goal is a greater risk that he'll be tackled and basically stopped from going and scoring for you. That's why, for example, Sandberg, who actually does shoot from, look, Sandberg shoots, his shooting bar is completely full, whereas Traore's bar is 75% full, I'd say. That's the great thing. That's why Sandberg and Prowlers are great. It's because they shoot on sight. They don't take that extra touch. Traore does take that extra touch, and I really cannot understand where you could play him to really exploit his characteristics. He's going to be a great free kick taker, as you've seen. He almost scored an insane free kick once he's level 10, obviously his stats will be, I think, one of the best when it comes to shooters, but that's as far as he goes, guys. You can't play him on the wing because he's too slow. You can't play him at the back because he's too short, too weak, and too slow. Where does Traore go? On the bench. As of the 14th of January 2025, that is my final judgment. He is not a player you can really make work in your team, especially when the software is against you. I'm going to give Traore a solid 3.5 out of 10, maybe 4 on 10. This guy cannot be used. That's all there is to it, guys. You can try to exploit his power, skill, and response. Power and skill definitely for free kicks, but I think that's all to this finisher of cards, which is Traore. Thanks a lot, guys, for watching. If you've enjoyed this content, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and also consider becoming a member. Take care, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.